this is the problem that we have been plagued with since we adopted modernism as our most predominant architectural expression, over and above so many other traditional ideas that have existed in design in India. You are right in saying that there's a very rich heritage we have of design, but we are not leveraging that as much as we should. In fact, we are leveraging that very little in the real estate industry, at least. And part of that region is because we are looking westwards always for ideas. And I would go on to say that we are looking westwards so much that we are not only westernizing ourselves, but we are westoxicated with the concept of getting ideas and things from there. And that is what determines the built environment that we see today in India. I think it's the issue of I think it's more the issue of sensitivity. People don't know. Indian people themselves are delinked with their own traditions and cultures, and their whole aspiration model is the West. I think we can start changing that, and we can start considering certain cultural values of India as the aspiration model, and that can kind of lead to a revival of Indian artistic and architectural traditions. That's the role an architect should be playing. Instead of only designing a building, he should be also sensitizing his clients. He should be also informing the clients about, how to differentiate, for instance, between needs and wants. Between simple things that they should develop or pursue when they make their own house. And this is the role, a very important role of an architect in India. Another thing about it is that we are only talking about people who are in the cities or big cities who can afford an architect. But there is a large stock of buildings that are being built by people who are not architects. And we need to also inform that industry about good design. Because good design, the value of good design has to be understood and explained. It's not only, the idea of good design is not about making it look beautiful only, but it's to enhance the quality of life in many ways, in social, cultural, economic, and functional dimensions. See, I am straddling two worlds. I am trained in the Western system of design. So I am trained in modern architecture, and I believe that it's also a good thing to a certain extent. But I'm also very much influenced by my understanding of Indian culture and traditions. So I want to bridge the two and produce something which is distinctly unique and you can say which is an expression of the Indian context. And that's what, that search inspires me. I do not know what is a smart city. I have not been able to understand what is a smart city, because I think for me a smart city is a place where people feel a sense of joy in living and not only connected to internet, and to create that sense of living, joy of living is very difficult, when you make habitats. In history of mankind, you've had some beautiful habitats where people have cherished and their creativity, their ideas, their development, because the environment was very nice. Now, how do you create that environment? And if you reduce the idea of creating that environment to just number crunching of economics, or of statistics of connectivity, or some concept about land pooling, or just bureaucratic administrative issues of running a city, that for me is not a smart city. There's a lot more that goes into making a smart city. So I'm not really sure what's happening. Although it's a great idea, it should be, but maybe I'm not aware. But I think what is required is perhaps a deeper and more detailed involvement of designers and architects and planners. For me, equity is a big issue. Light, fresh air is the right of every human being. Housing is also a right, but I'm saying that if you can solve these fundamental things, safety. People fall in potholes in this country and die, in Bangalore or in Delhi. So what are we talking about? So we need to first solve these basic problems. Then we can talk about glamorous ideas that we are trying to import from Singapore or Dubai or from the US. Now, in the last 60 years, to a large extent, developed a propensity, I would say, to think of a new idea merely by copying something that has already been done. We don't think from first principles to design a new idea from here. So whenever you want to do something new, you always have a reference which is about a project that has already been completed somewhere in the West or somewhere else in the world, or Singapore. I think that's very limiting in creativity. There are many ways in which you could find a better solution, perhaps.